Hey, visionaries! You are now tuned in to the Starts with a Vision podcast, where everything you do in life starts with a vision. If your vision is clear or foggy, you are in the right place. It's time to go take what's yours, because there's a vision only you can see, and a dream only you can dream. And now, your host, Mr. Starts with a Vision.
Welcome to the Starts with the Vision podcast. And I want to say thank you so much for listening, for being loyal to the podcast. We're coming up on 2 years now. In May is going to make 2 years, so I'm really excited about that. If you haven't been following the journey, we are launching a inspirational sunglass company. And so we're documenting that. So you can check that out at startswiththevision.com/voyage. And I just went to PodFest last week. So I'm going to be doing a whole review about that as well. So I'm really excited about that. It was a whole bunch of good connections. So what I want to say is today's guest is Katya Sarmiento. And I met her at an event some months ago. Maybe I want to say in October, maybe. I forget exactly when. But she spoke at a small event. It was like a small mastermind dinner. And, she told her story. And I was like, man, that's deep. And, I hit her up. I said, hey, let's record a podcast. But I'm not going to tell everything. But the premise of her story is systems changed her life because she saw how serious systems were and how important they were when she got sick. So I'm definitely excited about this episode. You're going to get a whole bunch of knowledge and value from it. And I want to just stress that systems are very important. And I've learned a lot of things about them as well, along with a team, right? Systems and team is how people make millions of dollars. So this episode is going to be amazing. It's going to be fire. So listen in its entirety, and here we go. What's going on, guys? This is Isaiah Fowler, a.k.a. Mr. Starts with the Vision, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to another podcast episode. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And today we have somebody who is a boss on the line, right? She's laughing right now. But she is a boss, and she's amazing. I met her at an event a couple weeks ago, and we connected, and I really said that I wanted to get her on the podcast because not only is she valuable, she has a story that I think will hit home to the point of systems and why they're so important in businesses and why we should always be looking to improve them and make them better for our sanity, right? So I just want to introduce Katya Sarmiento. She's going to laugh at that.
Hey. I'm not going to laugh at you anymore. You said my name perfect.
Perfect. 3 times.
3, 4 times, 5 times. Yes. Perfect.
That's what's up. So how are you doing today on this gloomy day in Atlanta?
It is. I was actually drinking hot chocolate earlier. I know I'm early on the Christmas thing, but I am cold. It's freezing for me right now. I'm wearing long sleeves.
Man, yeah, I'm not that.
Indoors.
I turned on the heater though.
I have the heater on. Yes, I know. I'm used to Miami winters being low 70s, and I'm wearing a sweater and a jacket and 3 layers. Now it gets colder. It's terrible, but amazing because it's also beautiful. It is really beautiful right now.
Yeah, when we hit January, it's gonna be a little bit chilly. I just want to. How long?
I want to see it snow. I want to see it snow so bad. No. I saw snow fall for the first time last Christmas.
No, go up north.
Oh, no, I want to see it here. I'm on the 15th floor now, and I have floor-to-ceiling windows, and I just want to see the snow falling over here.
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I want to see a snowpocalypse. I heard that in Georgia, there was a snowpocalypse where everyone got stuck in the highway because it was snowing, and they didn't have any systems to get rid of the snow.
Yeah, right. To hit the
I want that to happen. This is the only time I'm okay with somebody not having systems is so I can see a ton of snow and be a little kid in the snow and have fun.
Yeah. I think you're going to have to go to New York for that or something. It's going to be a little bit of a few flakes, but it's not good. Because if it snowed, I wouldn't have moved here.
Well, but I go up north and then it's kind of already snowed. So it's all on the floor already. Like I've never seen, like, I don't remember seeing snowfall as a kid. I don't remember. I want to see it here.
I got you. We're gonna see. We're gonna let time tell that. So Miss Katya, right? So I met you and I thought that, what you said was very important and it was touching, but just let everybody know, you're from Miami, but who are you and what exactly do you do?
Yes. So I am originally from Miami, but now I live in Atlanta, Georgia, in Buckhead. And what I do is I help 6-figure entrepreneurs scale up to 7 figures. And it's not that they're having a hard time reaching 7 figures. It's just, it depends if it's going to go smoothly or not, is what I hear. Because a lot of my clients, before they work with me, they're in this chaos of like, things are messy. They're feeling overwhelmed. They're in every single position of their business, sales, marketing, systems, client delivery, calls, like they're doing everything. Which, as a CEO, if you're doing all the things, then you're not really doing one thing really well. Mm-hmm. So I help my clients really step up as the leader, as the CEO of this company, set up the proper systems and structure and team so that they can hit their 7-figure goal, but in a way that doesn't cause burnout, doesn't cause chaos or stress for them or the team. And honestly, I was talking to somebody the other day. It was like, yeah, I might have to tell this company that I'm at max capacity. I'm like, after working together, you're never going to say you're at max capacity again. There won't be a max capacity. We will set up the system so you can continue to scale past the 7 figures. And that structure, that foundation will hold the weight of the work and of the impact that you're making. And right now, that's not going to happen for people because they're like duct taping things together. There's cracks in the foundation and they're just plugging holes rather than actually setting up. I'm getting so excited about this. It's like the first 5 minutes, but they haven't even set up the systems and the structure and the foundation for them to actually scale. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do.
That's it. No, you're not going on a tangent at all. I really do think that what you just said, it hit deep, and I'm pretty sure that it hit deep for a lot of people as well, with you saying that once you work with them, you will never be at max capacity. I think that's deep because is that a misconception that even if I provide a service, I have a limit to, how much I can do?
It depends how you set up your business. Because the other thing is, a lot of my clients love the work that they do and they love the hustle, but it's like right now I see people are the bottleneck of their business, and what they're working towards, whether they realize it or not, is being free from the business, being not having to be inside the business, but still have control over what happens, over how it's run, over the impact that they're making. Right. And it's like that's just systems. Mm-hmm. And you can continue to grow, continue to make more money. But if your business only runs when you're running, like let's say you get sick, or let's say you overcommit in just one specific thing, or maybe just for whatever reason you can't work. Like I saw a lot of entrepreneurs affected by the hurricane. My family was affected by the hurricane recently. They couldn't work and their business just completely stopped. And you can tell which entrepreneurs have the system set up and which don't based on that reaction, right? And when you're a business, when you're a company, it has nothing to do with you as an individual anymore. It has to do with the clients that you're serving, the audience that you're speaking to, the impact and the legacy that you're leaving. Mm-hmm. And if all of that depends on you showing up, that's not sustainable at all. So.
No, that's deep. And my question is, I see how it's not sustainable. I see why it's not sustainable, right? Because, one natural disaster happens, one thing happens, and now it's a wrap. But from the beginning, in terms of like when you got started, what made you want to like enjoy systems? What made you want to get into systems? Were you like an analytical kid when you were growing up? Are you analytical now? Or did something happen to where like you're like, yo, I need to get systems?
I am a systems person. I can't turn it off. I've always been like this. I just didn't realize it until a lot of challenges kind of put that in my face of like, hello, this is what you're good at. But like, even as a kid, I would just find a system for everything. I would organize things. If something wasn't working, I would fix it and make it better. Every job that I've ever had, I created some sort of system, even though I was never asked. Like, for example, my favorite job and the only job I lasted for a long time, because I usually don't last at jobs for long, because it's like I learn everything and then I want to be promoted, but they're telling me I have to wait 6 months. And I'm like, that's kind of slow. But there was this one job where I was working as dental billing and coding. And I learned the job really quick. It was super easy. I would be done and just kind of like sitting there like bored, like, okay, what do I do now? So they're like, hey, you have free reign to like do whatever you want in the office. Like if you want to learn how to do something, learn how to do it. And so, you know, I created a system to help them like, you know, like organize like their insurance claims. I created a system they were still like booking clients on paper. They were getting double booked and they were like, you know, no shows weren't being accounted for. So, you know, I set up a system for that. And it's just like, nobody really asked. I just did that. And I did that in every single job. I've done that as a kid. Like I would have like my friend comes over and sleeps over. And he's like, you have a system for everything. And like people make fun of me for that, but it's just like, I don't even notice it. Like, I really don't even notice it. It's just like autopilot.
So you've just been able to make that a part of your life.
Yeah, it's been a part of my life, whether I wanted it or not.
Right. It's kind of a natural thing.
Yeah. And because when people hear me say that I am like a systems person, they think like, oh, you're like very scientific then. And I actually sucked at science. And like, I'm also very creative. So like I played piano for most of my life and I love art and spirituality and like some like woo-woo stuff like we were talking about before.
Right.
So it's like, people don't really expect me to be like a systems and organized person. And if you look at my room, I don't look organized. Like things like that are not organized. But like when it comes to like, I'll set up a project management system for things. I'll set up spreadsheets. Like I'll just set up a system. I think I have like a paper system. Sometimes I have my whiteboard. I have like this like checklist thing right here. I have like, so just, I don't know. I do it. And it comes really natural to me all my life. So.
Right. So when did you start, providing this service to other entrepreneurs?
So to be honest with you, probably in the past couple of years, because at first I started as a freelance web designer. And, I would custom code websites for people and not like using WordPress or anything. Like I would actually like write the lines of code for websites and stuff. And I taught myself how to code completely. And then I found this community of like health coaches and like holistic practitioners. And I love all the things that they do. And I realized they were having a hard time with technology and like setting up their website and stuff. So I started actually doing tech consulting, like showing them how to use tools and which tools to pick and how to put them together. And then I started working behind the scenes for a couple of companies and like I would just do a lot of like the systems and operations work naturally. Like I would come in for the technology piece and like kind of like tech virtual assisting, but then I would end up doing operations anyways and kind of like high level strategy. And then I started my own digital agency to help people like completely set up like the funnels and like the launches and everything. And then I did Bots for Business, which we started. Scott Oldford and I started Bots for Business this past March. And I've just been the COO of that. And so doing all the systems and operations, making sure that we set it up correctly from the ground up. And so that's just like, it's been a mix of tech and systems for a couple of years now.
A couple of years. And so like from your expertise and from your experience, first and foremost, what are some of the like first systems that someone should set up, right, for their business besides like a calendar link? And I know it's going to depend on what kind of business they have, right? Because not everybody needs a calendar link, but what is some of the systems that, you know, a business or entrepreneur needs?
So I will always answer this as it depends, but I can give you one tool that will help you find what systems you need, and that's Rescue Time. So rescuetime.com. And I tell this to everybody. This is what I first do with my clients as well, is you install this on your computer and it tracks what you do in the background. So you don't need to manually track whatever you're doing. Like I've tried that. That's really annoying. It tracks what you do in the background. And then every week it sends you a report telling you where you spent your time. And you'll be surprised where you're wasting a lot of time, especially on Facebook. Like you'll say, I just checked my newsfeed a couple of times a week. No, it was like a substantial amount of hours. Like it will give you a bar and they're not nice. It will be red and blue. And if your red is like the whole bar and then blue is a little tiny thing, then you know something's wrong. Right. Okay. And you'll be able to see like, okay, I need to put a newsfeed eradicator, or I need to just remove Facebook completely. Or you know what? I'm spending way too much time on admin tasks. So what systems can you set up so that you're not spending as much time on your email or answering customer support questions? Or you know what? I spent way too much time on tech. Is it because the tool sucks and is hard to use? Maybe I could find a better tool. So like that's where you start to figure out like, okay, like this is where I'm spending my time on or wasting my time on, and what systems can I set up, or who can I hire, or like what can I change here? Because I'm not going to give you a cookie cutter answer of like, everybody should set up this system first. Because like you said, it depends on the industry, on the type of business, of where they are in business. Because some people are already making six figures and have set up 0 systems. So
yeah. That's really good. So that reminds me of like, there's an app and it's called Moment. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Somebody just told me about that. I'm usually on top of apps, but my iOS just like totally messed me up. I want to check that out.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same exact thing for...
Okay, I'm installing it right now.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but for your cell phone. And I think like it's an eye opener as well in terms of on your phone. So if you can manage those two from your desktop/laptop and your phone, your cell phone, and you can, know what you need to do, then I'm pretty sure that's a big help in itself, just to kind of see.
It's huge.
So
it's a reality check.
Yeah, big time. Because with like social media and everything, the internet, it's easy to get our time taken away from us per se, right? We may open up a tab because we need to know one thing to do on YouTube, and then we go down the rabbit hole of YouTube.
Oh,
and
yes.
An hour and a half later, we're like, oh shit, like, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that happens all the time.
Your time. Yeah, knowing where you
My thing was actually email. Like I have the Facebook newsfeed eradicator. I don't have Facebook on my phone. So my thing was actually email. I was answering too many emails and I needed to hire somebody to do them because they were all like customer emails. And then I also I downloaded a tool that would help me unsubscribe from things. So
nice. What's that tool to help unsubscribe?
It was Unroll Me, I think it's called. It's been a while. It just kind of runs in the background now. And I also use SaneBox to kind of like archive emails that like kind of like put each side that I don't really need to answer right now in my personal inbox, and then prioritize the ones that I do.
So this is very interesting. This is like, so even not only just systems, but knowing what to use in order to save your time in terms of having your emails get sent to like priority and stuff like that, right? So that you're only focused on like the income producing emails.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's actually like what you just said is exactly it. Because like if you were to put like a value to where you're spending your time, you'll see that you're like spending time on things that will only produce pennies, maybe not even. Right. And so if you could put that price tag on where you're spending time, like obviously sales is the highest price tag. So the more sales activity I'm doing, the more money I'm making. The more marketing I'm doing, the same thing, even though it's like long-term ROI. And then the more time I'm spent on like email and Facebook, there's no point to it. So
right. Absolutely. So is like Rescue Time like where you kind of find the prescription for what they need?
Usually this is for like the individual. Yes. For the company, I usually do a much more extensive evaluation or audit of their systems and their productivity and their team and their tools and everything. But yeah, for if it's just for you alone and you want to see where you're spending your time, rescue time will give you a big reality check. And then you can actually in the app set goals. Like I don't want to spend more than a certain amount of hours on distracting things. And I want to spend more time on productive things. And you can determine like the different websites and URLs and apps as very productive or very unproductive. So you can really customize it if you want to go deep into it. I'll usually do that for my clients.
Nice. I like it. I love it. I love it. So you talked about your last company, what you were doing, right? And you talked about the reason why you said, I'm going to start getting in the system. So talk about that. Okay.
What part?
What you talked about,
there's a lot to that.
What you talked about at the event.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Okay. So like I said earlier, I moved to Atlanta a year ago. And it's like, why is that important? It's actually really important to the story. But I moved into an apartment with my boyfriend, and it was super cool because it was like 3 times the size of what I had in Miami for the same price. So that was nice. And it was furnished. Like moving, I hated moving. It was just so stressful. So I was just glad it was furnished. And so I was living here, working here, I could work from wherever. So I would just like work from my apartment. Like I created like a little work area. And I had my digital agency at the time, and I had my team members, and I was helping people like with their launches. Like I was doing launch management, doing the funnels. I was doing the systems and operations as well, project management. And then during that time living at the apartment, I started getting really sick, and not like a flu or a cold, but kind of like I've always had health issues. Like I have a lot of allergies. And so I was actually an allergic reaction where like the right side of my body would get really swollen. Like I'll wake up and my hands were very swollen, and it was like sharp stabbing pain. Like if I touched the trackpad on my laptop, it would hurt. I couldn't even get out of bed most days. It hurt so bad. And, I would rush to urgent care, and all they would tell me is, we don't know what happened, but here's some steroids to reduce the inflammation. And that happened like 3 times, I think 3 or 4 times in just 3 months of living there. So it was really bad. Like I was sick constantly. And the biggest thing was that whenever I got sick and whenever I stopped working, my business stopped working completely. Even though I had team members, it was kind of like everyone was depending on me to show up. My clients were depending on me to show up. My team was depending on me to show up. My business, just everything. And if I didn't show up one day, it was like crazy. So even when I was sick and my hands were swollen, I would like try to type on Slack, trying to like respond to a Slack message from my team member who was freaking out about like a client issue. And it's just like, it was not good because like, yeah, my clients were like compassionate and they understood that I was sick, but it's still like, it's a business and they paid for something and they were expecting it. And like, honestly, I wasn't giving the best service that I could. And obviously I couldn't take on any more people. So I stopped doing any sales activity, stopped doing any marketing. I couldn't even show up on live streams or to write anything or to do any promotion, any interviews. I had to cancel all my calls. Like, it was really bad. And then I find out that this apartment had toxic mold. For the entire year that I was living there. And I was able to, I found a doctor that could help me with all of that. But that is what happened. And I actually ended up closing my agency, and, my team and I were on mutual terms about it. Like, it was just like not working. It was obviously not working for any of us. And that is when, Scott and I decided to do bots or like it wasn't like an immediate like right after, like it was a couple of months, and then like Scott and I were like, okay, let's start bots for business. And this time I'm like, look, I'm going to set this up the right way. I'm going to set up systems and operations. I'm going to hire team members. I'm going to empower the members. And even if Scott and I don't show up, I still want this to run. And that was my intention going into this. And so that was actually halfway between like living in the apartment. At that point, I still hadn't found out about the toxic mold actually. And I kept getting sick. But even though I like didn't show up, things kept running. Mm-hmm. The team knew what to do. I had set up the systems and structure, and they were very aware of it, because at that point I was like, okay, this happens, So like sometimes I'll show up on team calls and I just sound like totally terrible and allergic, and that's okay. Like they understood it. So I set that expectation up front, but then also I set up those systems for this business. And then also with the intention of scaling it and making sure that it's sustainable. So, I just like did like everything I could think of when it came to like systems and operations and making sure that everyone is set up for success. Mm-hmm. And it was just such a huge difference. It was so freeing, to be honest with you, to be like, you know what, this morning I woke up feeling really sick. Like there was a point where I was telling my team, like, look, don't expect me to answer until like the afternoon, because I was sleeping 12-hour days. Like I was really sick. Like I wouldn't wake up till the afternoon, or like I would wake up in the morning, but wouldn't be able to get out of bed until like 2:00 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to say, hey, I'm sick. Here's what works for me. I won't be able to do this. I will be able to do this, but none of that even matters, because if I can't do anything at all, things keep going. And it was just so freeing to not have to have that stress of like, oh, if I don't show up, then the business won't work,
Right. And that's very deep, man, because like, I think that everybody gets to that point where it may not be they get sick, but something happens, right? And it's like you get to take the pill or you don't, right? At the end of the day, it's like red or blue pill. Which one you want? Systems or no systems, right?
Like life happens. Like the hurricane happened. Mm-hmm. Like what if you overcommit to like one area? Like I see a lot of clients, like this happens all the time. It's like you're working on sales. You get the clients, then you're all like focused on the client delivery and the client work, but then not on sales. So then you have to like, oh shit, I don't have any clients. So like you're working on sales and then you have some inconsistent income and you don't know why. Mm-hmm. Well, it's because you're like bouncing, like you're overcommitting on this side, you're overcommitting on that side, and you're not doing anything consistently with both sides.
Right. And yeah, that right there is huge. So in your business, before you got committed to systems, what did your business look like? Like, I know it was lacking systems, but like, when you look back, what were like your biggest gaps?
I did not have standard operating procedures. Mm-hmm. Basically everything was dependent on me. So if a team had a question, like if one person had a question, I would answer it, but nothing was written down on paper. So I would have to keep answering that same question over and over again to different people. If I wanted to bring in a new team member, it would just be me training them. If I brought in a new client, it would just be me explaining the process over and over again to new clients. I had to show up to all the phone calls because I didn't have any training material, and I tried to train my team members on how to do it, and then I did, but it wasn't like the consistency of quality of work wasn't the same. Like I started feeling like, well, maybe I should do it because I'm the only one that could do it the best. And so I was actually missing leadership. That's really what I see missing in most companies is any form of leadership, of like empowering your team, training your team, putting things down on paper, like securing yourself with these processes that like you're going to do it anyways. Like you're going to do it over and over and over and over and over again until you burn out. So you might as well create processes around them. And I just didn't. And then the excuse was, I don't have time. I have too much on my plate. I need to get this thing done first. Right. And I hear that with people all day, every day. And I'm like, look, I get it. Like I made those same excuses. And then I had to make a really tough decision and end my business because it wasn't working. Right. So, like pick your poison.
Right. And you said something big as well. You always thought that you were the only one that could do it. So when you implement these systems, and you have these SOPs, like, how do you feel about getting other people to do these tasks? Because I think that there's a saying, or most people say, like, you can find somebody who can do it at least 80% as good as what you do. And that's good enough for something like that.
Well, I am a perfectionist and a control freak. So I don't usually accept 80%. If 80% is happening, that's my fault. I believe that a team member can actually do something 100% exactly how you want it. Exactly. Probably better than you. I believe that if a team member isn't doing better than you, then they're, one, maybe not passionate about the job, and two, maybe you're not being a leader and empowering them. And that's just my opinion.
Right.
Because if you set up the right processes and you set up the key, being clear on the responsibility and what you expect from them, and giving them the tools and resources they need and the training that they need to actually fulfill this job the way that you want. And you have checks in place for everybody, not just them, but for you as well, and your quality. Like, this isn't a side hustle. This is a company. And so with a company, things need to be consistent across the board. Like, there is a mission, there's values, there's a culture, there's a way that things are run. And if there's not, that needs to be figured out. That way everybody can be on the same page about how this company runs, how the client is serviced, how the work is done. And there needs to be systems in place where it's like, if somebody has a question, there's a clear answer. If somebody's doing 80%, there's a clear path to 100%. There's accountability to that 80%, right? So that's the way I think of that.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot. And maybe that was the saying that I heard, is somebody could do it better than you if you hire somebody. That's probably what it was. But nonetheless, that was still good stuff. And when you're looking at other people's businesses and stuff, and what's the most common excuse you get as to why people don't set up systems?
Time. Like, all of my clients are cash rich and time poor. And I get it. They grew really fast. Like, I grew way faster than I expected to, and you just don't really expect this kind of success, especially like the type of people I love working with are really passionate and really want to make an impact. And so, when you're doing good work and you're really helping people and getting people results, your business is going to grow really fast. And also, like, most people aren't thinking about systems, right? And like, I'm really good at systems, but like, when you try to do something for yourself, it's like even more difficult than doing it for somebody else. So like I made the same exact mistakes that my clients make right now. And I learned the hard way. So, it's like, people don't really stop to think like, okay, I am strapped for time right now. But if I just do this thing, if I set up this process, I will free up time in the long run, right? Because it's like you're putting out fires. Like, it's chaos. It's complete chaos. And it's really difficult to even think about slowing down in that period. Like, you think you need to speed up, like you're not doing enough, like you need to be doing more, that you need to be in more places, that you need to just figure something out, you need to hire more people, you need to right? So that's usually what I see happening in those situations.
And so the biggest thing is, what if somebody was to, start a business right now as an entrepreneur, right? Like, not a traditional brick and mortar, but just as an entrepreneur, let's just say doing something online. Do you immediately suggest that they implement systems or set up systems first?
No.
Talk about
that's actually what I do. I like now. Well, I'm like kind of weird. Like, I set up systems, and then like, you can't expect, it's kind of like creating a website and then not marketing it and expecting people to just magically show up at your website and pay you. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, if you set up a system, like, who's going to use it? Right. Like, who's going to go through it? Like, what team members? There's no team members. So why are you setting up a system for that? Right. So like, I used to set up funnels all the time and then never use them. I'm guilty of that. I used to set up project management systems for projects that I never finished, like things like that. So if you're just like completely starting off brand new, like sales Sales is what you need to focus on. And I'll have people reach out to me. It's like, I need systems help. And I talk to them for an hour. And I'm like, dude, you have a sales problem, not a system problem.
Right. So what's like a good, I guess, milestone, or, when is a good time to say, okay, it's time for us to start getting into organization and implementing systems into what we're doing?
So there's like a couple of like different phases. Like, for example, the first phase is like, you have an idea. Is this idea going to work? Right? So you tell people about it and people are interested and they pull out their credit cards and pay you. That's a milestone. The next one is like, okay, so some people paid me. How can I get people to pay me consistently for this? And then you do get that to happen. So that's lead generation and sales and marketing. That's another milestone. Then the next milestone, okay, I am hitting I'm kind of like in this cycle of like, I do sales and get clients, and then I have to fulfill this work, but then I need to get clients. So maybe it's time to hire my first person. That's a milestone to help you with the fulfillment part and the sales. And then at that point, it's like when your business starts becoming something bigger than just yourself, bigger than just like, I'm making some money. Like, you're starting to build a team. You're starting to have more clients. You're starting to become a name. Like, you've probably hit six figures. And like, you really want to expand. And you're expanding fast. You're growing fast as it is, but you want to go even further with your impact. Think as a company and a business rather than an individual. Does that make sense?
Right. So what you're saying is, once you get past just a solo level, and, once you start thinking it's like, yo, I'm a business owner, it's probably when you need to start saying we need to implement systems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So once you just start to cross that bridge of, I'm doing this alone, I'm like, or is it once I start feeling overwhelmed, that's how I know I need to get systems?
Some people feel that way. It's like, I am overwhelmed, but some people feel overwhelmed as a solopreneur, and they're like, I grew too fast. I don't have team. Like, different places, obviously, but it's like, when you start to feel like, okay, this is way bigger than I thought, and I know this is going to keep growing at a rapid pace, like it has been, and it's time to get my shit together, basically.
Yeah. And that poses a question, like, what is growing super fast?
It depends on the business. It depends on the person.
So let's say with you, right? You grew super fast. What did it look like for you? That
was, for me, like, how quickly I hired. I hired a lot of people really fast because I got a lot of clients really fast. And like, my agency, like, we were managing really big launches behind the scenes, like summits and challenges and webinars and workshops. And like, we were doing all of the back end stuff. So I needed to like hire more and more people, the more clients that we got. So a lot for me was just 3 clients. We got 3 more clients on top of the clients we already had. Like, that's insane. Like, now we have 2 launches planned in this month. Oh, that's a lot of work.
Because I know how one launch is. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. So I was managing like 2 to 3, 4 launches in 1 month at a time. Like, I needed to hire fast. And then like, so for some clients, like, I was just talking to somebody the other day where they're like, I just signed 2 6-figure contracts. I need to get my shit together, Right. Or, I'm used to teaching workshops of 20 students. In January, it's going to start being 80 students. So like, that can look different for everybody, but it's like, when you know what you're used to delivering has now increased by a lot, and when you start to question if you can deliver, and like, if you need to, like, if you're building up a wait list and you're at max capacity and you're like starting to think, like, people will start to think systems and team hiring at this point, like, they'll start to get the idea of like, okay, I need to like kind of like make a process out of this. Like, I need to like kind of establish what this looks like. So that like things don't fall through the cracks.
Right.
And that's when the duct tape comes up and they start like duct taping things together and like plugging the holes, and they think they're doing, and like, I love it when people do that, but it's like, like the cracks are still there, you know, and it's hard to see it when it's like in your face, like it's your own business. And so that's usually when I come in and I kind of like do the whole audit for my clients. And then they're like, wow, that's a lot we need to work on, you know?
Right.
Like you don't really realize it until you take a step back and like look at the big picture of like, what am I trying to accomplish here? Like, what's my vision? What's my purpose? What's the impact, the legacy? Like, what is this big thing? And then all the little like cracks in the foundation keeping you from that, you know, it's a lot.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Do you think that a lack of mission and or vision is going to continue to hold you back from not like implementing systems, if that makes sense?
What do you mean?
Like, so like if you don't have a clear vision, then you're probably not going to put systems in because you're not taking it serious.
So most people think they have a clear vision, actually. Like they have a clear goal. Like they want to scale to a certain number, or they want to help a certain amount of people. But what they haven't started to think about the whole picture of like, okay, what happens if you help that many people? Can you actually handle it? Like, can you, like, do you have the team? Do you have the support? Like, what about you? Like, lifestyle going to look at, you know, are you going to be sacrificing your lifestyle and your freedom to make that number or that like impact happen? So people don't usually have a clear vision for themselves, actually, is what, like, now that I'm like kind of talking this out with you, because this is a really good question. I've never been asked this, is like, I guess they have a clear goal. I guess you're right. So they have a clear goal, but they don't have a clear vision of how that's actually going to happen. They're confident that they'll hit that goal, but then they're like, well, if it doesn't go smoothly, what then? You know, that's not usually in that thought process. And, you know, like vision boards, it's like you have like the like thing, like the little like beach lifestyle laptop, traveling the world, like making 6-7 figures or whatever. But it's like, but wait, like, how are you going to actually maintain that? Are you going to actually maintain that? And what's the point? Like, what's the whole point of even reaching that number, right? Because you're like burnt out and you're stressed and you're just not feeling good about it and it doesn't feel right to you, then what's the point of that, right? So yeah, if they're not clear on that, and it starts to become a mess, and then like systems isn't even the first thing coming up. It's like, well, I want to hit this goal, and these problems are happening, so let me put out the fire and let me just fix this. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And from your perspective, also, like, what is like? Do you have like let's just say like a wheel of, you know, systems that you kind of like start on? So for example, let's just say it was a wheel, like we have sales system, marketing, you know, like, or is it just like everything is all customized, or is there like some kind of like, you know, rule of thumb that you guys follow with everybody?
I do really custom work. And so sometimes you can really see what a person's strengths and weaknesses are based on how they built their business. So like some people might have the sales systems in place, but not like consistent team communication or something, right? And you know, like I'm working on like creating like a like kind of like an outline or like a checklist of my systems, but it's like getting so long that I don't even know if it's like I feel like it'll overwhelm people if I were to like just go through that or publish that. Like I go through it automatically on my own. Like I kind of like mystery shop businesses. Like I will like go through as if I were like a potential client and like check different things out. And it's not just systems, like it's like the technology and the tools and the person and the communication and the response. So there is a lot that I think about, and I try to look at it from like holistic, like the whole big picture, and not just like, oh, SOPs are missing. Right. So yeah, it's very custom. As soon as I have a wheel, I will show you. But that sounds like it'll be a really, like, I feel like I imagine a pie chart with really, really, really little tiny pieces. Because there's a lot in that wheel.
There's a whole bunch. Because like within a piece, there's another piece, right?
Exactly. Oh my God. It'll be yeah, exactly.
Right. So what's your favorite tool? Is your favorite tool Rescue Time, or is your favorite tool like something else?
I use so many tools. Like I try to keep my preferences out of it because, like, for example, my favorite tool for myself wouldn't be the same favorite tool for somebody else's business. And so I try to keep my preferences out there. But if I were to say a favorite tool, it would probably be Trello.
Trello? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I
good.
love Trello. I use Trello for everything, and then maybe spreadsheets too. I like so many. I can't just say one of them. ZenKit, Focuster, Google Calendars alone. I use Google Calendars all the time. I guess I have my stack of tools that I use, but
So you like Trello over Asana?
Yes, I am a very visual person, and I don't do well with lists, but some of my clients do extremely well with lists and hate the visual aspect of Trello. So, yeah.
Okay, got you. So where can people find out more about you and your services and everything like that?
Yes. So my website is reachandmakemillions.com. And I'm like pretty much like Katya Sarmiento, Reach and Make Millions across the board on social media. And I don't actively list my services on my website because I'm usually like I said, I do really custom work. So I usually get on the phone with people before I even say what my services are, because it depends on the type of business and what type of work we're going to be doing. But I do have like a couple of freebies on there. Like I have I created like this little 60-minute challenge to build your funnel. So if you have all of your content, you could I walk through the tech stuff, and I have like some other freebies on there for people. I'm starting to put out more content about systems and tools because I feel like a lot more people want to get into systems and just need that like little push. Mm-hmm. So reachandmakemillions.com. I'll be posting all my free stuff on there and on social media as well.
Got you. And you like your IG is like your first and last name as well?
Yeah. Across the board. Katya Sarmiento everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Well, that's of course going to be in the show notes. So what's the reason that you love entrepreneurship?
I love the freedom. I love being able to be at home and wake up whenever I want, work whenever I want, and then be able to say, you know what, I want to help people today, and actually be able to like make an impact in people's lives. Like I get messages, it's like, wow, like, thank you because you changed this, this, and this. And like, I see the domino effect of it as well. Like when I help this one person, their family is impacted, and then they help their clients, and their clients are impacted, and those clients' families and clients get impacted. So I just feel part of this huge domino effect. And it's like, if I had stayed, by the way, I'm like a college dropout. Mm-hmm. I feel like if I had stayed in college and if I had gone the route of getting a full-time job and staying in a full-time job and building my career, I wouldn't have been able to first have the freedom for myself, to take care of myself and my health, to spend time with my boyfriend and my family, to live in this beautiful place, to have the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want. And I wouldn't have made the impact that I've made, and I wouldn't be able to build that legacy and continue to make a bigger impact in the world, and obviously make a lot more money than I would at a job. Absolutely. So I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Right. What would you say your future it looks like, or what do you have planned for the future? Because I know we don't know, but right.
I think the one thing I know for sure, because like my business has shifted and changed so often that I can't predict where I'm going to be, but I know for sure that I personally want to start a family, not in the next few years, but down the road. I have always wanted to be a mom, and I work with a lot of mom entrepreneurs, and I know for sure that's something that I am going to do in my future. So, but that's all I know for sure. At least that's all I'm dead or committed to at this point. Down the road, we'll see what happens.
I kind of like that though, because it had nothing to do with like business. Like it really had something to do about you, and that's something that you would do that would kind of let you or make you feel fulfilled.
I'm a nurturer. I love taking care of people, and I've even growing up, I knew I wanted to start a family and have my own family and be a mom, and and I think that's also something for being like an entrepreneur. Like I want to be at that place financially where I can just support them fully and like teach them. I want my kids to be entrepreneurs. Like I see kid entrepreneurs all the time. I'm like, that's going to be my kid. Right. And I'll like talk to a lot of people and like hear their stories of having a kid and having a business. And so, yeah, like I've never shared this actually, but like, that's what like family is really important for me. Like, I'm Cuban and like, I don't know if it's a Latino thing, but like our family is like really important to us. And I noticed that that's like across the board for Latinos, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's just always been a part of who I am.
Well, no, that's what's up, man. Because, I asked that question because it's not always about, I want to be this business owner and make these millions of dollars. Like everybody has different goals and aspirations, and that's what we do this for, right? So that ties into you being free, because you saying, I want a family. Yeah. That ties into your freedom, because, if you had, let's just say you had a job making $30,000 a year, you're not going to really be thinking about a family as much as you would. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, honestly, I'm only 23. So like family is like, I'm like saying near 30. Right. My mom freaks out when I say that. She wants grandkids like right now. I'm like, not ready, not yet. But it's like, I have a lot of time. Like one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is like, what is my purpose? Mm-hmm. Like I really want to be clear on what my purpose is and the impact I'm making and the legacy I'm leaving. And then also like thinking about family in the future, like what does that look like? So it's like a lot of like, I know like these next few years are going to be a lot of personal work, like also my health challenges, taking care of myself in that sense. And then it's like, I feel like no matter what happens, if I'm being of service to people, the money will always be there. The business will always be there. Like I'm an entrepreneur at heart. That's like a given, Mm-hmm. So that's the way I look at it.
Are you a passion first person? Passion over money?
Yes, I cannot. I think I made an Instagram story of like these window cleaners. I'm like, I don't care if you pay me $1 billion to do that just once a year. I would never do it ever, right. ever. So yes, I'm definitely a passion person.
Passion. Yeah. Cause I made a post in my group a couple of days ago and I asked that question. And so, it was kind of like half and half. So.
Really? Yeah. I'm a passion person.
Yeah. It leaned more towards passion, but there were a lot of people who's like, give me the money. So.
Well, yeah. Like some people are in that state where like they need the money, and I totally get that. I've been there before, but it's like, it's soul sucking. It's so draining. I just can't.
Absolutely. Cause you can't operate out of, peace, Yeah. Like, 100%. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining and making this happen. And do you have any leaving remarks?
It starts with the vision.
So dramatic, right? Super dramatic. I was like, what's she about to say?
And it's dark right now too, so I'm like close up to the camera. It starts with a vision.
Yeah, you did.
The podcast you're listening to. No, but seriously, like I think like going on the conversation that we were having is like getting clear on like what you really want in your life, in your business, what you are passionate about, what impact you want to make, where you want to grow to. It's like really getting clear on that stuff is going to make a big difference in your life. So. Absolutely.
100%. And just the vision and clarity. Clarity is what a lot of people want. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
People want clarity so much. So guys just listening, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And I really hope that, this episode really did something to you, did something to your spirit, and it really gave you perspective on your business and how you're building it and what to do, right? And how to grow it, because that's what the podcast is for. So with that being said, once again, we're going to talk to you guys on the next show. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Join us on the next episode and hit up Katya anytime you want to and or need to get your systems perfected because she is a perfectionist. So we're going to talk to you on the next show.
Thanks for listening to the Starts with a Vision podcast. Come get your vision clear at www.startswithavision.com. See you there.